Alright YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back. Today I'm going to make a video on building a real simple raised flower bed box. It's real simple. It's going to be 4 2x10s and 1 4x4 for the post. I'll show you how I set up my saw. I got a miter saw here, sliding compound miter saw. It's a Hercules from Harbor Freight. I love this saw. It's a great saw. I've really used it a lot. I've done a lot of molding and stuff with it. It's really good. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get the 4x4 marked for the post that are going to be in the 4 corners, and I'll show you guys how I make a little jig on my miter saw here to cut it so the post will be to a point, and we'll pick back up the video as soon as I get it measured out. Alright guys, here I have a treated 4x4, and I'm going to measure it. I'm going to divide it evenly into 4 different sections and cut them, and then I'm going to make a little jig. My saw here, and I'll show you how we cut them to a point. So let me get that cut, we'll get back. Alright guys, I have my square. I got everything marked. Just go ahead and use my square. Make a nice straight line. Only got to make 3 cuts here. It's real simple. Alright guys, let me show you how I make this little jig on my saw here. I have 2 pieces of 2x4 I have done as a guide. What I do is I set my saw in roughly a 20-degree angle. These aren't perfect points, as you can see, but they're pretty damn nice. So in order to figure out where I set these at, I'll take my wood here, which is roughly 3.5 wide. So I'll mark it 1.25 inches. So when I set my 2 pieces of wood here, I'll set them to where I want them so that the saw is almost cutting to the middle of the wood. And I'll show you real quick how easy it is. Take and flip it. There you guys have it. You can tell it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn nice for what we're doing. So let me get the last one cut, and I'll show you guys how we're gonna make the rest of this garden bed. So without further ado, let me finish. Alright guys, we're making a rectangular box. It's made out of 2x10s. So this is gonna be the 2 ends. So we're just gonna cut this board directly in half, and then we're gonna miter the ends on 45, so everything will meet really nice in the corners. So let me get that marked, get it cut exactly in half. Let's see what we got. 4 foot 1/16 to be exactly in half, right there. Get this board ready, cut it in half. Easy, easy. It's a really simple job, guys. It doesn't take a lot of brains. Okay, guys, I'm doing this by myself. I got nobody to hold the wood. All right, let me get the ends cut on a 45. This is a dual bevel saw. This is real easy. I loosen the back up, pull it here, and we'll go 45 on it either direction. This saw is really awesome. So let me shut the camera off and I'll cut them. Yeah, as for making my 45s, I cut one so I know where to line up my saw. This is rather larger wood to be doing this with, but it still works good. So I just put my line there so I know exactly where my blade needs to be. So you can see I already got this one cut. See that? So I'm going to cut this one the exact same, and then we'll get to the sideboards. We're going to cut them on a 45 too, so everything will butt together, and then we'll screw the 4x4s on. Alright, so you guys can see I got the corners mitered. Fits pretty nicely. This is just treated lumber, so it's not always going to be 100% perfect. But what I'm going to do before I screw the legs on is I'm going to take my brad nailer and I'm going to shoot a few brad nails in just to hold it together until I get the screws in. So we'll probably build this thing upside down with the legs up this way, coming up. So let me get it brad nailed so I can kind of hold things together, and then I'll show you how I'm going to screw the legs on. Alright guys, this is how we're going to mount the post. These are going to go in the ground. This part is going to go in the ground down to about here, or wherever she might like it. So one thing I wanted to mention, your corners, like I said, I just got them brad nailed to help me out. Your corners are not going to be perfect when you're working with treated wood, no matter how well you cut your 45s. What you're going to wind up doing is coming back in here with a sander and cleaning those corners up, and maybe even a little wood fill if you want to make it absolutely perfect. So I'm going to run 3.5-inch screws into this 4x4, probably 3 to 4 screws on each side. I'll do that in all 4 corners, and then we'll flip it over and I'll show you the finished product. Unfortunately, I can't sand it today. I don't have my big 2-stage air compressor here just yet. Once I get that home, then that's something I can go ahead and run a DA across it, really clean this thing up super nice, make the old lady super happy. You know, it's always good, win-win for everybody. So, all right, let me get my cordless impact out, and we'll go ahead and we'll run these screws in there. One thing I did want to mention when you're putting your post in, because we're building this upside down, you're probably not going to want your 4x4 all the way to the ground, otherwise it's going to be sticking up when we flip it over above the lip of this. So I'm just going to put a little shim underneath it just to bring it up a hair with every single one, and I'll run my screws. Alright guys, I'll show you how the first one's going to go. Now you might have to mess with that corner a little bit. Obviously get your post lined up. On your back side. Now what you could do if you want to bring these corners in closer together is you could actually, instead of using a brad nail, I could have probably ran a screw in them, which I might do. It might bring them in a little bit closer. So what I'm going to do is loosen up this 4x4 a little bit. Not too much. Just enough to where it's loose in there. And I'll run me a screw through here. Like that. That's much better. You run these. And there you have it, guys. I'm thinking I'm going to do probably 3 screws. On each side of the 4x4. That'll make it really sturdy. So you got 6 screws holding it, 1 screw in the corner. I'll file those edges down, sand them down. This thing will look awesome. So I'll get back on camera once it's all flipped over and we'll see the finished product. Alright guys, and there we have it. Just a real simple garden box, these posts. But when she gets it where she wants it, we'll just dig down in the ground. So this is sitting flush on the ground. These corners, you could clean this up a lot more. We didn't spend a lot of time on it. You can see the corners aren't perfect. I could fill them in. I could clean it up a lot better. But that's alright. It's good enough for what she wants, what we're going to do with it. It looks pretty damn good. And I think we spent maybe 56 bucks on this, 60 bucks. So there you have it. Like I said, corners are not perfect. This is just womanized wood, guys. You could do other things. You can see, you know, you could clean it up different ways, but that's her. That's it. So once again, guys, like always, thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would have done different. I know one thing I would have done different. I wouldn't have brad nailed the sides. I would have just ran screws. It would have been a little bit easier. But either way, I wound up using 4 screws per corner. This thing is super solid. So that's it, guys. Till the next video. I got a lot of good stuff in store. I'm working on the boat still. I got 2 free snow blowers. We're going to be doing videos on those. Easy money. Like I said, always easy. So once again, please like, subscribe. Thanks, guys. And this is the final product. We just have to add some dirt about up to here, maybe a half yard or so, but it's all leveled. Real simple garden box.